Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Uh, Finally getting around to doing a video that I've been doing research on and have been wanting to do for a while. Hadn't quite had time. Now we finally do. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. At least everybody here in North America, the United States. Up in Canada, I think they celebrated Thanksgiving, I think, last month. So, and to all my friends up north, even though you guys have already had Thanksgiving, I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving also. And before I get into this video, again, if you are new to the channel, hopefully you enjoy the content. If you do, it would mean a lot. It would be greatly appreciated if you were to hit the subscribe button. And if you've been here before and you just haven't quite gotten around to hitting the subscribe button, because almost 60% of the people that view my videos have not subscribed, I'd love to get that number down significantly, and really enjoy your guys' help with that. So, the video I wanted to do for a while is kind of it's definitely kind of important, as I've got back here on the board. I'm finally doing the Eugene Melnyk era of the Ottawa Senators. I've done a lot of different research on this, looking up what I could find, and I should go into before Melnyk owned the team. They were initially founded. They were awarded an expansion team by the NHL in 1990. But they officially were founded in 1992. They began play in 1992-93. They were owned initially by Bruce Firestone. And he was a real estate developer. And, he didn't own them for very long. But, I think, what was it? He didn't own them for very long. Later on in 1993, they were taken over by the Terrace Corporation. They then began. They were the owners who oversaw the initial construction of their arena that they're currently in. That happened in 1994. They started construction on it. It opened in 1996. That, of course, it's had a few different names. It is now currently the Canadian Tire Center, which is about an hour or so, I think, outside of Ottawa. It's in Canada. I think that's the name of the town. Let me know in the comments section if I'm correct on that. But from that point on, they really from their inception, they really had trouble turning a profit. Turning a profit was not easy for them to do. And that all culminated in 2003 when they filed for bankruptcy. And it was looking like they were going to be out. It was looking like they were going to be another Canadian team that was going to end up leaving. Well, then, this guy who, founded a very successful publishing company decided, you know what? I think I'm going to buy these guys. So in August of 2003, Eugene Melnyk buys the Ottawa Senators for $92 million. Something tells me when the Senators get bought this time, it's going to be for a lot more than that. But his estimated worth was estimated at $1.5 billion. Pretty good net worth, I would say. I'd love to be worth $1.5 billion. But from the very start, he was not real pleasant, apparently. He was not real pleasant in the workplace. He made employees feel very uncomfortable. He would often get drunk and very belligerent. from, some of the research I was reading, he would come into the office smelling of liquor, which not really what you want to, have. You come into work, you see the owner of the team come into work and he's, potentially stumbling and, smelling like a brewery. Not exactly what you want to have, as a, with having to, deal with your boss, in that condition. But, it got to a point where they had to keep him out of the locker room. They had to keep him out of the locker room. They had to keep him away from the TV cameras because he would he'd go off. He would just go off, and ranting about, some of the, whatever he thought of, basically. And he would just go off. And it got to a point where it led to a lot of personal problems that he ended up having. I think, his wife divorced him. He was kind of going on a kind of a downward spiral. And it got to a point where he alienated the one of the best players the Ottawa Senators ever had in their franchise history, in Daniel Alfredsson. Alfredsson said, "Screw this, I want out of here." And he didn't have really anything to do with the team anymore. And it was because of Eugene Melnyk. And it was crazy. He then tried to purchase a piece of land that I guess is right across the street from the Parliament building. I think it's across the street. Let me know in the comment section. I think it's across the street from the Parliament building. But and it's called LeBreton Flats. And this is something he'd been trying to do. He tried to do basically up until the day he passed away. He had been trying to work something out to get this piece of land. But he got into a very giant, I guess you could call, pissing contest with Trinity Development, who I think was the development company that was supposed to potentially build the arena, or that he was in competition with for that land. And it just, it went on and on until he passed away. And LeBreton Flats, of course, that's where, the new arena would be built. If the Senators get that piece of land, they'll build the new arena there. A little warm in this room. I'll take the hat off a little bit. But that is the land where we saw the what the potential new arena would look like, and it looked fantastic. And that's where the new arena would be built. And it just they severely just butted heads hardcore. And it just, and LeBreton Flats is one of those areas that, it'd be a perfect place for the Senators to build an arena. It really would. The fans wouldn't have to worry about driving over an hour to get to the Canadian Tire Center. It's very similar to what the Arizona Coyotes went through. Because the Coyotes, when they played at Gila River Arena, that was an hour plus away from even Tucson or Phoenix. Because I've been out there. We made that drive out to Gila River Arena. And yeah, it's about, even without a lot of traffic, it's still a little over an hour to get out there. So it is it's not really an advantageous situation. Even when the Senators went to the finals, or not the finals, but almost got to the Stanley Cup final in 2017, they weren't selling the arena out. They're one win away from the Stanley Cup final, and they're not selling the arena out? We're like, How? Number one, how? I don't know. But that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to make that drive, especially when they have to make that coming back. You know, if you've got kids who have to go to school in the morning, you potentially have to go to work in the morning. The game doesn't get done till 10:30. And that's now an hour plus drive back home. You're not getting home till, 11:30, 11:30, quarter to 12, maybe even midnight. So, it's not really advantageous to play in an arena that's over an hour away. And that's why LeBreton Flats is an important piece of land for the Senators, because it's somewhere that they could build on. It's like and again, the parallels between them and the Arizona Coyotes are crazy, because that's what the Coyotes are trying to do in Tempe. They've got a big piece of land that they want to be able to buy and build a brand new arena on. And of course, they're waiting for their city council to decide. And, I guess that'll happen. I think that'll happen sometime in May, where they'll actually find out whether or not they get an arena. But it's similar here. Now, Melnyk passes away on March 28th of 2022. He was only 62 years old. That's not very old at all. 62 years old. I mean, it's like, and we know that the fans, they had the hashtag Melnyk out for a long time going on in Ottawa. They did not really like him. He had potentially threatened that, without a new arena, or without increased ticket sales, well, maybe I'll just move the team. Boy, that's going to really make your fan base, really love you. Threaten to move the team. Yeah, your fan base is, they're going to think you're aces for that. Yeah, no. The fans did not really like him, especially after that. They wanted him out as owner for a long time. Really up until the day he passed, they wanted him out. So he goes and he passes away again on March 28, 2022. At only 62, young age. So what ends up happening is that then leaves the arena to his daughters. He has two daughters, and I think one of them, they're both still in school. I think one might be in college, and the other one might be just out of high school. I'm not exactly sure of the ages. But that leaves the day-to-day operations of the Ottawa Senators to them. Now, we don't know exactly how involved they have ever been with the team. I think I had heard, that they've kind of been involved. His oldest daughter, had kind of helped out somewhat, like in the office or whatever. But when it comes to the whole day-to-day operations, I don't know what they've all done there. And this is something, it's like, do they really want to, is this what they want? Is this what they want to do? Do they want to keep the team? What do they want to do? Or do they just turn around and try to sell it? Now, remember, in 2003, August of 2003, Melnyk bought them for $92 million. Now, the word is that his daughters are looking to sell the team. So, if they're looking to sell the team, you've got to think that, especially with the NHL, they're going to be pushing for these new owners. They're going to want to try to sell this team for potentially at least $800 million. Are the Senators worth that much? I don't know. This is something I think that new owners, they're probably going to end up having to overpay for this team. But, and it's interesting when you have a guy that is just, being like a big pain, and you're constantly butting heads. Melnyk passes away, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? There might be some movement on this LeBreton Flats deal. Now, there's still court cases and stuff that are going on with that. I think the next court date for the whole LeBreton Flats situation is, I think, in January. It is in January. So that'll be 2023. Now, if the daughters are trying to sell the team, that is most likely going to be priority number one for whoever ends up buying this team. There have been rumors that Ryan Reynolds is trying to put a group together to purchase them, but there's a couple. I think there's at least one other guy who's trying to get like 3 or 4 guys together, and they want to try to buy them themselves. Also, there's a couple different ownership groups that could end up buying this team. That of course depends on what the NHL wants to do. But obviously, for whoever buys the team, LeBreton Flats is priority number one. They have to get that deal done. Now, I have also heard too that the NHL is going to do what they did with the Coyotes, where if their arena deal gets approved, they can't move for, I think, 20 years. I think it's 20 years. The NHL is looking to do the same thing here. Where if a new set of owners comes in, they cannot move the team. Which makes LeBreton Flats even that much more important. Because, I mean, if you can't get a new arena deal done, you're I don't know how the team's going to continue to try and make money if they are stuck playing at the Canadian Tire Center. LeBreton Flats is a very, very important thing here. That's gotta, it's. But the fact that there's movement now, there's some movement now, and it's amazing. I mean, Melnyk passes away, and now all of a sudden, hey, you know what? LeBreton Flats might be a thing again. Might actually be a thing. So hopefully they can figure that out. Of course, the ownership situation, the daughters are apparently wanting to sell the team, and now it just depends on who's going to pony up the cash. Who's going to pony up potentially $800 million, maybe even $900 million. I heard it was somewhere in that area. Who's going to pony that money up? Who's going to have enough money to put up to purchase the Ottawa Senators? And then again, when they do purchase the Senators, they need to immediately figure out this LeBreton Flats thing. If they can get the LeBreton Flats deal done and start building a new arena, a gorgeous new arena on this spot that I believe is right across the street from the Parliament building, I think that could be a lot of fun. And that would mean some good stability for the Ottawa Senators. It means they stay there, and I think to me that's a good market. To me, it's a decent market. The fans, it's Ottawa. It's the Canadian capital. I mean, I know there's probably some people that would love for the whole thing to fall apart, and maybe potentially see them move. I don't want to see them move. I mean, it's the Canadian capital, and they've got one of the most awesome logos out there right now. So, I sure as hell don't want them to move as I bump my stuff here. But I think it would be very cool. If the new owners come in, whoever it is, they buy the team for whether it's $800 million, $900 million, somewhere in between. It definitely means that's a good return on the investment for Melnyk's daughters, because he bought the team for $92 million. Turn around and sell the team for $800 million. That's a good payday. That's a good return on investment for his daughters. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who ends up buying the Senators. how much they'll buy them for, and what happens with LeBreton Flats. Can they get a deal done? Can the new owners, when the new owners come in, can they get a deal done to get plans and be able to start building a potential I'm trying to remember what the number initially was that they were looking at paying for a new arena on LeBreton Flats. Now, how that's going to be paid for, that's something they'll all have to figure out, obviously, with the city and everything. But hopefully LeBreton Flats can get figured out. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, I think the next court case is in January of 23. And we'll see if the new owners, excuse me, we'll see if the new owners, if the Senators have new owners by then. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Eugene Melnyk, he was definitely a character in Ottawa. You got to give him credit, because you got to give him credit in one respect. If it's not for him stepping in August of 2003 to buy the Ottawa Senators are not still the Ottawa Senators. They would have been sold to somebody and out. They would have been gone, and the Senators would not have had a team this entire time. So Eugene Melnyk, he had his issues, but again, if not for him, the Ottawa Senators are not in Ottawa. So in that aspect, the fans in Ottawa really should thank Eugene Melnyk, because if not for him, there's not a team on this day. There's not a team in Ottawa. There are no Ottawa Senators if not for Eugene Melnyk. So they should definitely say to Eugene, thank you for that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love to know what you guys think, because this was fun putting this together. It really was. And yeah, I mean, Eugene Melnyk, definitely, interesting guy for sure. But again, without him, the Ottawa Senators are not a team in the NHL. They are probably a different team down in the States, if not for Eugene Melnyk. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, if you've been here before and you haven't done so, or you're new and haven't done so, if you haven't done so already, it would be greatly appreciated if you were to hit like and subscribe. I will put the link to the Discord in the description. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about the legacy of Eugene Melnyk. And what do you guys think? Again, without him, the Ottawa Senators are not the Ottawa Senators. So they're still there because of him. And even to me, I have to say, thank you, Eugene. Thank you very much for being able to purchase them and keeping them in Ottawa. Let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will see you guys later.